Okay, everyone, it's 10 o'clock. This is the special call meeting. This is the Board of Mayor and Selectmen. This June 22nd, 2018. And I'd like to open the meeting with prayer. But before I do, please remind everyone to make sure our phones are silent, please. Gracious Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day and all our many blessings. We're thankful for you, Father. You've watched over us and protected us and led us every step of the way, and we're thankful for that. We're thankful for all our many employees of the city that so loyally serve us each and every day. Father, we are thankful for this board, and we pray that the work that we do here today is pleasing in your sight, and we pray and ask for your guidance as we do the work of the city. All these things we pray in your Son's most holy name. Amen. Well, I have Selectman McKenzie advised me that he would be in Baton Rouge today in meeting. Wasn't sure if he was going to call in, if he was going to be able to make me call in or not. I'll give this a couple of more minutes, but we'll proceed on. It is time to roll. This is a special call meeting. Board special call meeting. We cannot amend the agenda, so the agenda is set out in front of us, and we shall proceed as laid out. The consent docket is before you, and are there any items that I should pull, or without objection we would approve the consent docket? None. Okay, then the consent docket has been approved without objection. Next we have receiving comments from Ron Kessler, the Director of the McComb Recreation Department, regarding Kids Community Days. Mr. Kessler.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this brief opportunity to just come to you, talk about two or three real brief things. Kids Community Days, Monday, July 9th at East McComb Activities Field, Wednesday, July 11th at MLK Park, and Friday, July 13th at Beartown Park. The Recreation Department will be putting on a community day for children of all ages from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Our staff will be out there. We'll be doing activities. We'll have some inflatables that we'll be having, water activities out at MLK with the splash pad. We'll be doing some flag football, some kickball, some soccer, and some other activities, including face painting for some of the younger children. So please put that on your calendar. Community Board, Kids Community Day, 9 to 11 a.m., Monday the 9th, Wednesday the 11th, and Friday the 13th. And that is at East McComb, MLK, and Beartown. MRD soccer sign-ups will begin July 2nd at the McComb Sports Park during our regular boys business hours. Girls and boys ages 4 to 17, we encourage to come out. If you're a 4-year-old, they will need a birth certificate. The cost is $45. This is by far our largest program, and we're excited that the time is here to have the registration for that. And then our citywide employee softball tournament that we did back in the spring, we are doing again in this summer, and we'll have one in the fall. We had to change the date due to a scheduling conflict. It will be July 20th at 6 p.m. at the sports park. It was originally set for the 6th of July, but we're pushing it back 2 weeks due to a scheduling conflict. All the departments are encouraged to participate. They did before, but that is July 20th at 6 p.m. So Kids Community Day coming up the 9th, 11th, 13th, MRD Soccer the week of July 2nd registration, and Citywide Employee Softball Tournament July 20th at 6 p.m. at the sports park. Thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Folks, next we have receiving comments from Judy Davis. She's with the Gillen Group, the ones that perform our audit. This is regarding the financial audits, the audited financial statements for fiscal year ending September 30, 2017, and you each have your copy. So, Ms. Davis.
Yes, good morning. I'm Judy Davis of the Gillen Group, like the Mayor said, and I'm here today to present the 2017 audit report. First of all, we issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. During our testing, we found no internal control findings and no violations of state law. As far as the total net assets for the governmental and the business-type activities, increased by about $2 million, mostly reflected in current assets. In 2016, the governmental activities total assets were $26.8 million and increased by approximately 2.5 to 29.3 million in 2017. The business-type activities were $51.9 million in 2016, and in 2017 they are now $51.4 million, a decrease of $500,000 over the prior year. When comparing expenses to the prior year, each category had an increase, so it was difficult to pinpoint any one cause for the decreases in net income, especially noting that revenues were up over the prior year. The city's largest source of operating revenue was from sales tax, accounting for $6.1 million or 45.5% of gross revenues, and the second largest source was from property taxes, accounting for $3.9 million or 29.4% of gross revenues. Major expenses include the police and fire safety expenses, which accounted for $6.8 million or 46.2% of the total program expenses. The second major expenses were for street and public property maintenance, accounting for $3.3 million or 22.3% of total program expenses. As of the end of FY 2017, the combined fund balance for the governmental funds and the business type funds was $8,017,000, an increase of $2.2 million. The 2017 $3.2 million bond issue was the most significant factor contributing to the current year increase. The bond proceeds were not used as of the end of the fiscal year. The general fund balance decreased $314,000. There were no new accounting policies adopted during the fiscal year. We made minimal adjustments as a result of our audit procedures. Most of the adjustments were posted through the audit process and was initiated by Janice in the finance department. A list of all the adjustments posted has been provided to Janice if anyone is interested in seeing those. We encountered no difficulties with its management and thank everyone involved with the city that helped us during the audit. We've enjoyed working with the current administration over the years and look forward to continuing our relationship with the city under the new administration. Does anyone have any questions?
Janice, do you want us to make any comments about our audit?
I just want to say that we did have a great year again this year in 2017. I was glad that every department worked to do their best to save money this year, to do what they needed to do, and we had no financial findings, as you said, just as we did last year, and no discrepancy. So I'm very happy about our audit this year.
Okay. Board? Thank you very much.
Thank you, and if anyone has any questions later or something that may come up, just remember we're always available, just a phone call away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Board, the next I would move that we consider accepting the audited financial statements for fiscal year ending September 30, 2017. Could I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Selectman Tullis? Selectman Hill? Discussion? Vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries unanimous. Very good. And Selectman McKenzie. I'd like to recognize and say thank you to Representative Angela Cockerham, who is here standing with us today as our legal counsel. Mr. Dowdy's out of town, and we appreciate Ms. Cockerham for standing for us in his absence. Thank you very much, Representative. Yes, ma'am. It's a pleasure that you serve us so well. Thank you. Next, we have consider receiving the final report from Jonathan Kaiser, Neil Schaefer, regarding the Delaware Avenue corridor study for the city of McComb. Jonathan is here. And Board, what I want just to tee this up for Mr. Kaiser, that we had, the city had gone out and solicited funding for this study and were successful in USDA funded the cost of this study. And all that we're, so he'll give you the results of the study, but the end result of this is going to be laid on the desk of the next administration. They will have this as a blueprint to consider, and cost estimates for the project. But we're not making any kind of decision about this project. It's going to be left for the next administration to take up off the table if they wish. But Mr. Kaiser has done a great job, as Neil Schaefer always does for the city. Represented his company well. Mr. Lott, thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. And what you have in front of you is most of the report. We didn't print all of the appendix and all those reports that you have, but we'll provide it electronically to you and leave copies of the final report with you with all the information. There's some traffic study detail that's not in the copies that you have in front of you that not everyone gets a lot of use out of it. But we have that information summarized in the graphics in the front of the report. And what the mayor had asked us to look at is an opportunity to provide a complete streets policy to Delaware Avenue, and to look at a way to make Delaware more attractive to pedestrians and make it more walkable, and to slow the traffic down a little bit by narrowing up the traffic lanes and providing a raised curb median, which would also make the corridor much safer. We've provided a detail of the crash history throughout the corridor, and then looked at what the impacts would be to having a raised curb median through Delaware, and what impact that would have on the existing traffic volumes. There's some renderings that we have that would show what the concepts would look like. So particularly this would be the east end, as we got east of Michigan Street where you have the on-street parking, not extending the median through that area because the U-turn effects would have a little more impact behind the curb in this area, but having a stamped or stained asphalt center lane and then widened sidewalks behind the existing curb. It would also include upgrading the traffic signals throughout the corridor to provide mast arm style traffic signals with the latest flashing yellow arrow, vehicular detection with radar detection, and having coordinated timing patterns at each of the traffic signals. And a drive had been replaced recently, so we were looking at the four signalized intersections between Anna and Broadway. This is a look of what the corridor, what the median would look like. It would not be, it's shown as green, but it would be a concrete median so that it would reduce your maintenance aspect of the median. You wouldn't have to get into Delaware to cut grass. But the median would also provide a refuge area for pedestrians as they're trying to cross the road and not be standing in the middle of a two-way left turn lane with traffic approaching from both directions. This is again on the east end, showing the stamped and stained center lane with bulb outs at the intersections to reduce the crossing distance for pedestrians at the intersections, and some improved sidewalk width behind the existing curb line. And then another rendering just showing the 5-lane section in Delaware, west of Michigan, between Anna and Michigan, where we would have a raised curb median. So, and then this would just show what those typical sections would look like as far as the width, where you would have, where there wasn't a left turn lane and a median opening, you would have a curb and gutter and a 7-foot wide raised curb median, and then improved sidewalks and landscaping behind the curb. So there's lots of detail in the report in front of you of the effects and where the curb is recommended. There are some areas that, as you have very busy and successful fast food restaurants, that there are areas where the curb and gutter, the median was not included, so that they would not be impeded with their ingress and egress for Popeyes and Wendy's and Taco Bell and some of the major fast food restaurants that had high left-turning traffic volumes in and out of their business. The threshold that we looked at in the study was 25 peak hour left turns or more, and so as we had businesses that were generating that kind of traffic, that we wouldn't want to be so disruptive to their ingress and egress with the median. So there's some areas that are excluded from the raised curb median because of these existing businesses, but the overall concept is to include the raised curb median and to make it more pedestrian friendly, and having 10-foot and 11-foot travel lanes, which would help slow the traffic down some. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions, Mayor.
Yeah, I would just, before we get, just wanted that we had two public hearings, and this is kind of like a work in process. We laid out a footprint with medians and then scaled, made some adjustments, and, you know, and it's not to say that this report can't be changed in the future.
That's correct.
You know, there's still some concerns out there that certain businesses have about the raised median and such, but this could be, it still can be worked through.
Absolutely, and I omitted the public involvement part of that, is that we did have 2 public meetings. They were held on the corridor at First Baptist Church in their fellowship hall. We advertised in the Enterprise Journal the 2 Sundays before each of those meetings, and we went and put a notice on every business and residence on the entire 1.6-mile corridor to let people know about the meetings. In the first meeting, we didn't have any of the median locations shown. We wanted input from the public before we developed that. And then the second meeting, we showed where the median was proposed. And all of the sign-in sheets and all of the comment cards are in the appendix of the document you have in front of you for all the positive and negative comments. There really weren't a lot of comment cards filled out, but we had around 35 people sign in at the first meeting, and it was a little less than that in the second meeting. You know how public meetings are, is that a lot of times people show up when they're mad about something. And it was still in the concept phase, so public meetings don't necessarily generate a whole lot of attendance unless, you know, people are really upset about something. And there were a few people that had some legitimate concerns about the impacts to their businesses, and their comment cards were provided in there for you.
I wanted to, before we get into questions, I wanted to make sure that there was a little handout that I gave with you. It says First and Main. You'll find that in your handout and read. And, you know, Transportation America put this together along with you know, Smart Growth America, this First and Main flyer here. The Transportation America, we're connected with them through their concern about railroad projects across America, and you know, they always keep informed about things that are going on with Amtrak and such. But by virtue of being a part of Transportation America, we get this First and Main, and this is something that they want the city to support. But it says the 4 principles of First and Main are: support locally driven community revitalization, this project, vibrant, healthy, walkable towns and cities, create opportunities for everyone in America, small and mid-sized communities, and then invest in infrastructure that creates lasting value. And that was one of the major points of this whole program, was that, you know, the car is so valuable and so important to the city today. I mean, it's full of commerce, but you want to make sure that 40, 50 years from now, it's still that vibrant car that's bringing revenue to the city of McComb versus cars that you may see in other cities across the state or other areas that have collapsed. And you know, this kind of reinvestment in that corridor could potentially create that lasting value. And also it connects another major part of it the board to consider is that it connects the interstate to downtown McComb, and it drives traffic to downtown McComb, and could hopefully, you know, help create that, you know, could be one of these things that could give downtown McComb another step up as far as in this revitalization, that it's helps the developers to say, okay, this is going to be something good for us. So, Donovan Hill, Selectmen Hill, you had a question or comment to Mr. Kaiser?
Yes. I just found the answer, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. I was going to ask about the accident or crash comparison between what we have now and the raceway corridor. Can you explain to our citizens the comparison or the difference between those?
And the raceway corridor?
Yeah, with the one that's being proposed.
I see, with the race curve median versus the 5-lane. Yes. There's the National Cooperative Highway Research Program, NCHRP, is a federal agency that does studies, and a lot, because we have 30,000 to 40,000 people die on highways across the country every year. The federal government has some safety research branches that go and look at ways to improve safety on our roadways. And so one of these NCHRP documents looked at a comparison of 2 corridors that had similar traffic volumes, driveway spacing, and whether they were 5-lane or whether they had a raised curve median, and they looked at historical crash data. And so that's what I believe it's Appendix A, pages 1 and 2, have the 2 documents showing for a two-way left turn lane, 5-lane section, and a raised curve median 5-lane section with approximately 17,000 vehicles a day, which is what you have, what the comparable crash rates were from a statistical analysis. And it shows that the raised curve median has about 25% fewer, 25 to 35% fewer crashes in that corridor because you have fewer conflict points. There are fewer places that another vehicle can turn into you or approach you, that you have more people turning right into the corridor because they can't turn left, or where they are turning left, they're at designated locations. So instead of right now when you're driving down Delaware, it's kind of a gauntlet that people can approach you from either side, from any direction, and if you put in a median, really the only way they can approach you is by turning right or at a proposed median opening. So that's the statistical analysis behind some of that, is that there is a incentive to have fewer conflict points and raised curve medians to decrease your crash rate and to decrease the number of people that are injured in crashes in Delaware. But as the mayor said, there's also a economic development aspect of this, where you're investing in the corridor. Right now, when you're looking at Delaware Avenue, you could be at any town in America, and it's from back of sidewalk to back of sidewalk, it's all concrete or asphalt, and there's nothing all that attractive about it. The sidewalks aren't all that appealing, and it's not very easy to cross Delaware Avenue even at signalized intersections currently. So, as you see, this new age of millennials coming out of college and where they're going, they're wanting more bike-friendly, more pedestrian-friendly communities, and that is the way that a lot of communities are going. A lot of the major urban areas which historically had just gone to automobile traffic and served automobile traffic and narrowed sidewalks and widened roads, are now seeing that there are better alternatives and better quality of life to having sidewalk and bicycle opportunities in their urban areas.
Selectman Eubanks.
Yes, when we first started talking about this corridor, I know one of the things that we talked about was this hodgepodge of signage and uniform signage. I don't see anything on that. Did we get away from that? Or?
We didn't get away from it, but there is also the opportunity to have wayfinding signage in this. We were looking as much at the traffic impact side of it, of the turning impacts from the raised curve median, but having wayfinding signage is a component of the corridor improvement, where you can provide signing to get people from the interstate to downtown or to local attractions or whatever you want to sign them to. But yes, we can provide.
I think we were talking about monument signage
or
something of that nature. So did that get away from us? Are we not looking at that? I'm not sure about how we're talking about the signage is going down Delaware. Because you're right now, I don't know what our. Right now, it's just hodgepodge, wires everywhere, just sign here, sign there. There's no uniformity to it. And if you're going to spend the money to try to do Delaware corridor, I would think that would be a part of it, because since we're putting lipstick on a pig,
sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do, and one of the challenges that you have right now is that you've got 75 feet of right of way. And that's from back of sidewalk to back of sidewalk. So from 5-foot sidewalk on each side and 65 feet of curb and gutter and asphalt, there's not a lot of room in there for monument signage. As you come in and look at the road diet and modifying the curb line and having some more room behind the curb to have sidewalk and landscaping, you will have more opportunity to have monument signage and wayfinding signage in that area. Right now, it's so restrictive that you don't really have enough room to accommodate a sidewalk, utilities, and monument signage in that area. But there's opportunity to include that, absolutely.
It comes with a price tag estimated, so you have concepts, and you have estimated cost almost $7 million to do this work as presented. Those kind of monies, if this were to have life and legs, if you were going to do this, if this program happens, they had funding out of Washington called Tiger Grants, which would certainly fit something like this. I believe today they've changed the program to build. America, but their money's in Washington D.C. that would fund, 75 to 80% of the cost of a project like this, and it would just be a matter of determining if you're willing to make that kind of investment.
And we have some contingencies built into that to accommodate wayfinding signage and monument signage. So there are opportunities to include that in the project. It's not something that is excluded out of that price. Yes, sir.
That's a follow-up question. Were you part of the group that did Magnolia, Texas?
No, sir.
Because I'm looking at that, and it looks just like what they presented as well. And what Magnolia, Texas did, they came in, they did monument signs, and they also updated the frontal part of the building. Everything was uniform.
Gotcha.
And so my question is, if you're going to go through that extent to try to dress up, you're going to still have all this signage. It's not waste. To me, it's a waste of time because you're not going to address that. Then you're just going to have that big hodgepodge over your trees. So.
And there's opportunities with the cities to provide. I know the City of Jackson has a grant that they work with business owners to change the facade on their buildings, and they have matching grants that people can apply for if they want to change the external of the building. So the retail of America is changing, and the downtowns of America are changing. And as the mayor had mentioned to us, as you drive, the areas of other cities where the retail has left an area and shifted to another part of town, there's opportunities to invest and try to reinvigorate the existing retail that you have to try to keep it from moving to another part of town and just having a lot of asphalt and buildings with non-matching facades. But there's lots of opportunity for grants and to do roadway improvements. This is a concept that our landscape architect worked with us on and what the renderings would look like. And it's an opportunity for the city to work at the next level and decide if this is a project you want to move forward with. What does it look like? What do the monument and wayfinding signs look like? What does the landscaping look like? What does the median look like? These are all things that, as a board and as a city, you can decide.
Anything else? Selectman Brock.
What about the power source in order to get rid of all the power lines back and forth? Do you know where the power source will come from?
The existing overhead utilities, really, we wouldn't get the traffic signal near the bar, please. And this is a mock-up of an existing photograph, but it does show that you are still going to have to maintain above-ground utilities with that cost. Now, a lot of the power that's out there, a lot of the lines are going to street lights. And so with the replacement of the lighting along the corridor, then you wouldn't have as many of the wooden poles with the single wires going just to feed those street lights. But you would still have above-ground utilities. The amount of room and to change to below-ground utilities is not part of that cost. It's not. That's correct. So it would clean it up, the overhead some, with the replacement of the street lighting and having those lights fed underground. And as you drive it and look, you'll see a lot of the poles and wires are related to the existing street lighting, but the power lines themselves remain.
Was it not addressed?
It wasn't that it wasn't addressed. It was from a cost-effective standpoint. It's something that we can provide you an estimate of what that cost would be. On Fortification Street in the city of Jackson, we did that for the stretch between I-55 and State Street. We did a portion of that project with underground, and the power companies. What they ended up doing is relocating the main power feed to a parallel block, and everything that was on that block, on those two blocks, was underground in a duct bank, so that all the utilities had to move into that. And I believe I don't recall the price on that, but the power company will tell you that it is typically triple the cost to go underground as it is to go overhead. So it's not an inexpensive endeavor, but it is certainly something that if that's what you want to pursue, we can work with you and provide you cost estimates to do that. We'd be glad to help you with that. Yes, sir.
Mr. Kaiser? Thank you. You'll get all the reports finalized and submitted to the USDA and...
Yes, sir. There's reporting requirements for the grant, and we will finalize that and get it all turned in by the end of the month, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
We'll provide you these electronically so you don't have to carry a hard copy around. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Well, like I said, we'll leave this on the desk of Mr. Lockley and the next incoming board for them to take it up and see what they'd like to do with it, if anything. Hopefully we can move, city can move on something. Next item, I move to consider approving payment of $25,000 to Lofton Properties LLC on the agreed judgment order from the Special Court of Eminent Domain of Pike County, Mississippi, the City of McComb versus Lofton Properties LLC. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Selectman Tullis.
Second.
Selectman Brock. Board, let's see what's backing up this. The board authorized the city to move into eminent domain proceedings with Lofton Properties, and the estimate, I believe, was $12,500 for the property. We sent the check to Mr. Graves' office for 85% of that, and that's what we agreed to do through this board. We get to the eminent domain court, and we have a settlement made between Lofton Properties and the City of Macomb, $25,000 to settle that eminent domain, the sale, the purchase of that property for this project. It's been comes to the court as a judgment order. That's it. And so here we are. Discussion. Vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay. Item number 8, move to consider approving payment request number 6. This is release of retainage. This is from Barry, pardon me. All right, okay. I was looking at item number 7. I need a motion to skip item number 7, please. We received notice from DFA that the $100,000 bond was going to be issued to the city, and then we get notice today that, well, there's been an election in the city, there's a change in administration, and that, they need this will need to wait till the next board sits, and they'll submit other resolutions back to the DFA, and maybe in 19 it might get approved. So this we cannot do. I need a motion to skip. And a motion from Tullis, Selectman Tullis, second from Selectman Hill. Motion to skip. All in favor, please say aye.
Discussion.
Okay, but maybe out of order, but go ahead.
Exactly what's going on again? Slow that down a little bit.
Okay, all right. The state of Mississippi issued, awarded the city of Macomb $100,000. If you recall, Representative Myers authored a bill, and there was $100,000 in bond funds for the city of Macomb hanging out there. And we made application to the state to include this $100,000 in the bond sale for the fall of 2018. And they gave us notice that, yes, this money, the bond commission signed off on it and said their $100,000 is coming to the city of Macomb, only to find out that they didn't recognize that the city just had an election. A new administration will be sworn in July of this year, next few days, and that they can't do this. They'll have to, the next administration will have to resubmit to the DFA for these proceedings. Is that right, Ms. Dillon?
That's correct.
Okay. And so we can't do this. That's hence the motion to skip.
Ms. Dillon.
Ms. Dillon, go ahead.
Ms. Dillon. the correspondence back and forth with this department. Could you share those with us? I mean, did you ask for approval through email to move forward with this, and evidently they came back with something else?
Well, based on the action of the board, we went ahead and submitted that we wanted this included in the fall sale, as the mayor said. So with that, the board approved a resolution, and we also presented to them a project plan. So we presented those things along with a letter for the issuance to the city. And we sent that in May, I do believe, maybe in April. We submitted that, and then I got word on June 19th that the bond commission did meet, and it was approved, and they were going to include it. But as of this morning, I received information back from DFA saying that, you know, the new board was coming in, and that we would have to do a new resolution, a new project list, and all of that, and resubmit it again to be included in this fall.
Okay, so it's not like starting all over?
It's somewhat starting over, I mean, we will have to keep the same plan and resolution and all of that. We'll have to do a new resolution, but the board can keep the same plan. But if that plan changes, it will have to go back before the bond commission again. They will have to meet again and approve it. But if we change that, I do know we will have to start from beginning, basically.
Okay, with the new board coming in, can that submission include that new plan also?
Yeah, they can redo a plan, yes, but just saying that it may not go into this fall, because depending on when the board commission, approve things for this fall, I think that has been done already, and then we will have to submit it next year. And I don't know if, I would have to find out if those funds will still be available, because it was approved in 2016
Okay.
with the House bill, so. I'll have to
On the 19th, they met?
They met
and
on the
approved it.
19th, and they did approve it. We got notification that it was approved. But again, this morning I received notification because of the new election and the new board that's coming in, that resolution that we sent in then and that what was approved will have to be redone.
Is that something that was submitted to them, or they just wrote you out of the blue and said, oh, y'all had an election?
They just wrote us and said that there was an election.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Make the motion to skip Ms. Comfort, Representative Comfort.
I did attend the bond commission meeting on the 19th where this item was taken up and it was on the agenda. And I'm a little bit surprised to hear that you got that notification from DFA this morning, because there was no discussion about a new administration taking place when the bond commission met on Tuesday.
And that's correct. They didn't know it on Tuesday. They weren't aware of it. But C.J. King with the DFA, yes, he called me this morning as well as emailed me this morning and said that they were made aware that there was an election and a new board coming in. So he sent me that message this morning and called. And so with that, he said I will have to have another resolution, a new project plan. Well, I will have to resubmit the project plan, a new resolution, and a new letter for those funds.
Okay.
So he may have not talked to the bond commission yet. All they know is they approved it on the 19th.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Cochran.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Cochran, do you know if there's a time limit on that resubmission, or?
I'm willing to work with you in finding out. My concern is like yours. I don't want there to be a window where the city misses the opportunity to apply for the bond. And so I'm willing definitely to work with the city to make sure that there's not a time limit.
Right.
Motion to skip, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Now we move to item number 8. Thank you. Move to consider approving payment request number 6. This is release of retainage from Barry A. Construction in the amount of $95,051.91. 2017 bond issue mill and overlay project. I need a motion and a second. Reverend Tullis.
Second.
Reverend Cameron. Discussion. Folks, Senator Ross.
Is this one project? one designated area?
No, this would have been the contract that was awarded to Barrier Construction, part of the $3.2 million, the first project that we issued as a board, and they have finished all their work. We were holding retainage. They're through. They want their retainage. Any other discussion? Vote. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item number 9, move to consider receiving a check in the amount of $50 from Anna Day Roberts to be deposited into Fund 001000346 and increase line item number 001105770. And further authorize a budget amendment for said amount. These funds will be used for the necessary equipment and supplies of the McComb Animal Shelter only. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Selectman Tullis.
Second.
Selectman Eubanks. Board, before, McComb Animal Shelter, they're doing light years ahead of where they were. They're doing great things there. They've got a transport heading out tomorrow. 35 animals flying to New Jersey. They've connected with people. This is the second time you've seen that probably in the last 6 weeks, but and they're going to get reimbursements for the neutering costs and such. So great things that Miss Michelle Lomas and her team are doing in their animal shelter, so you should be quite proud. Discussion on item number 9. Vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Move to consider receiving a check in the amount of $3,614.50 from EMC. This is for a 2005 Crown Victoria, PD number 197, VIN number 2, FAFP73W45X124561. Declaring this vehicle a total loss and remove it from the City of McComb inventory. I need a motion and a second.
Second.
Selectman Tullis for the motion, Selectman Brock for the second. City Administrator, go ahead and address this, if you would, what's happening here, and then also just while you've got the floor, just talk about, and it's going to apply to items 11 and 12 too. Just go ahead and speak about that.
Yes, sir. And Chief, if I'm wrong, please let me know. I think the first vehicle is the vehicle that got hit by a police car at Cardesco in a training, and it was totaled out, and we got 3614 for it. The last 2 vehicles were vehicles at the police station where a limb fell out of a tree during a storm and hit both of those vehicles, and those are the amounts that we received for those vehicles.
Okay. So this is what we're on. What's in front of us before? Officer taking the car to Jackson for training. Hit by another police officer from Kosciuszko, Mississippi, of all places. But anyway, it was total. Discussion?
Question.
Selectman Brock.
Chief McKenzie,
Yes, sir.
Chief McKenzie.
just kind of give me a refresher. When these go to EMC, are they given to you?
No, sir, they're totaled.
They're going to pick them up?
Yes, sir. As I understand it, the city does not put, being that it's totaled, the only way to title it is to put a salvage title on it, and the city doesn't put salvage title vehicles in service.
Okay, so these won't pass on to something done?
They have been passed on enough.
Thanks, sir.
Yes.
All right. Discussion. Vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item number 11, move to consider approving PD number 192, VIN number 2, FAFP71W67X154909. This is a 2007 Crown Victoria, a total loss and removed from inventory. Once approved, EMC will send the city a check in the amount of $4,710. Motion and a second. Selectman Tullis. Selectman Brock, is that you, sir?
Yes.
Discussion on item number 11. Selectman Cameron.
The total of the 3 is going to be like $14,000. Do we have anything that we're going to do with that $14,000? Could we put that towards a new vehicle?
Sure, but it's going to the general fund, and we won't do that today, but that's where it could go, absolutely.
I'd say put that on next.
In July, yes, okay. All right, discussion? Vote, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 12, move and consider approving vehicle number PD 193, VIN number 2, FAHP 71V68X15271, 2008 Crown Victoria, total loss, and removed from inventory. Once approved, EMC will send the city a check in the amount of $6,280. Need a motion and a second.
Second.
Selectman Tullis, Selectman Brock, must have been a mighty big limb.
Small tree.
Small tree, okay. All right. Discussion, vote, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. And, Chief, are you getting these letters off the EMC, or is our clerk handling that for you? Ms. Sevilla's got this, okay. Item number 13, move and consider accepting the bid of Tom Ellis to clean 10 properties within the city of McComb in the total amount of $34,750. Need a motion and a second. Selectman Tullis.
Second.
Selectman Eubanks. Board, you recall at the last meeting, we rescinded the cleaning 13 properties and reissued bids for 11 properties. This is for 10. One of those properties is Mr. Lambert here. One of those properties is being cleaned presently by the property owner. Is that correct? Hence, we're only doing 10 of the 11. The others, so you're seeing who they're going to finish and complete that project.
Yes, sir, we're not actually going to reject that bid for that one property. If the property owner doesn't finish it, we can go back and, so we're just going to award, we're requesting to award the 10 today, and then we'll hold the other one, and if that comes up, we'll see where we're at going, but they're working on cleaning that up.
As a matter of numbers, you have $44,000 in this year's budget appropriated for and approved for demolition of properties. This leaves you, $10,000, left in the fund for demolition. Sir? That's right. That's 40, and this leaves you roughly 5.
Yes.
Okay, pardon me. Discussion? Selectman Brock?
Which property was the one left on?
The 1008 Apache Drive.
Working with the family on Apache Drive. They've been working to get
Couple
this.
3 weeks.
Right, and, that's another, that 11th property on that bid sheet came in, I think, $13,000, so if we can keep pushing the property owner to finish that would be to the city's benefit.
Yes.
So do we give them more time? We gave them
Well,
more time?
as long as they're working on it, we've been working, that's one that's been going on for about 15, 16 months, started February of 17, and went through several things with them. They kept saying this, they were supposed to have a contractor that started middle of May. Contractor said his equipment broke down. The contractor finally got in and started work a couple of weeks ago. They are making some headway. They've got some of it cleaned up. They've got a little ways to go, but they are cleaning it up.
Further discussion? Vote, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion is carried. That's one nay. Who voted? You voted nay, Selectman Brock voted nay. Did you get that, ma'am? Motion did pass. Item number 14, move to consider appointing Chuck Lambert, Public Works Director, as the project manager for the McComb Main Street Association Makeover Grant. Need a motion and a second. Selectman Tullis.
Second.
Selectman Brock. Selectman Eubanks, we mentioned about Main Street being defunct, and it had just got past me, but this board, I think maybe we put in your box about the creative partnership, assumed the tax ID number and the McComb Main Street designation. We support creative partnership. Is Ms. Webb, are you here from McComb Creative Partnership? Ms. Liv Alford was Main Street that submitted the grant? Okay. And so the McComb Creative Partnership now has become the McComb Main Street Association in principle, and we still, as the city of McComb, we still have to have that project manager to work with them to sign off on that last little bit of money in that account. Selectmen Hill.
Was there anybody else interested outside of our public works director?
Well, the Public Works Director, the reason we went there is that the project manager in the original grant was the Public Works Director, and it makes, it made sense then, I think it still makes sense today, that the Public Works, those are the kind of things they do, looking at, working in our infrastructure, in our city rights of way, putting down plantings and those kind of things, so that's where it should be.
I mean, within the department, I understand that he's the director, but other people within the department do the same thing. They could have an opportunity to get more involved in it as well. Outside of the director.
Well, the director's where we looked, since it had been the director.
Will we open it up for application or anything like that?
No, there's no pay with this, it's just a matter, he just needs to participate just time, and that,
not necessarily for pay purposes, but for experience purposes as well.
right, was not.
All right.
Senator Eubanks, that's your answer.
So on the grant, it says Main Street Association. Is there anywhere in that grant that says that they can now delegate their information over to another organization? I know it's just $4,000, but we want to make sure that we do the grant the way it's supposed to be done. Because if it only says City of McComb and Main Street Association, the Main Street Association no longer exists. Is there anywhere in there that it conveys that over to another organization?
Well, I think.
That's what my concern was. Ms. Libby does a good job there, but I just want to make sure we dot all the i's and cross the t's.
Vicki, can I ask Vicki to come up? Vicki's with the McComb Creative Partnership, which we have, as a board, support and have partnered with. I thought we had put a letter in everybody's box about the collaboration between Main Street and Creative Partnership, and the fact that Main Street became Creative Partnership. They took over the tax ID number, took over the reporting.
Our name still is McComb Main Street Association, so we still exist using the same tax ID number. It's just that we felt that we're not operating any longer, we're not paying the $10,000 a year because we aren't getting money from the city like we used to, that we passed along to the state organization to maintain that affiliation. So we're not doing that, and we've more embraced the creative economy concept. So McComb Main Street Association still exists, and it's just doing business as McComb Creative Economy Partnership. And we've got a lot of ongoing projects, as such, but we still exist. If you do a Guide Star search or, check for our 990, it's going to be in McComb Main Street Association. Did I explain that well? If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Why wouldn't you just leave it McComb Main Street Association? Why would we just leave it at that?
Well, like I said, it costs, I can't remember how much we pay.
You have to have a salary person. There are many things that, for you to be a
Vicki.
Oh, I'm sorry. It costs money to operate and affiliate with the state Mississippi Main Street Association. We did not have the funds to do so, but we were only an affiliate of theirs, just like Keep Pike County Beautiful is an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful. But we pay dues for that. We couldn't afford to pay the dues to the Main Street Association, and the Creative Economy Partnership was more along the Arts and Entertainment District, and what we felt like Main Street needed to revitalize itself. So we just started doing business as the McComb Creative Economy Partnership to sort of go in that direction, the things we wanted to do, which I gave you guys a copy of what we're hoping to do. And we have the festival that's ongoing.
Okay. Anything else?
I heard Mr. Selectman Eubanks say it was $4,000 in there, is that correct?
Yes, I think it was $4,700, $4,500. $4,500, yes, that's right, remaining in this grant. Vote, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. I have one nay, motion did pass.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
The $4,500 goes in line.
That's, no, there's no money associated with item 14. Okay, the item number 15, I talked to you at the last board meeting about, the biking enthusiasts in the city wanted to have a designated bike trail through the city. And that, not to go and build a bike path, but just to create that designated route through paint and signage. And, I asked for you to allow Neil Schaefer to have a look at that and to see if it was the route that we had designated or the enthusiasts had designated, to see if it was appropriate and if it would work and what it might cost. And I guess I thought that, paint and signage wasn't going to be a big ticket, but it's a great project, but it's going to cost a little bit more than what I was thinking. So I need a motion to skip this item. And Selectman Brock made the motion, and Selectman Eubanks. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, nay. And we'll leave all this information on Mr. Lockley's desk, and he can look at it. It was $145,000 for paint and signage. I think it'd be a great project, but we can't do that here today. Y'all need, the next administration needs to look at that if they are willing to do something like that. So that's the reason for the motion. Which leads me to the mayor. I wanted to let's see if this Becky Morgan trick works. Pop a mint in my mouth. Sometimes I have a hard time getting it. So, all good things must come to an end, and I'm at that point today. I know that chapter is closing in my life. And first I give thanks to God for being with us every step of the way. Thank you, Jesus. And it was intentional on my part that we always gave thanks in prayer every time we met as a board in our regular meetings. I believe it's that important. Many of people across our city were in prayer with us every time we met. Many thanks to those prayer warriors, and please stay the course. Second, thanks to my wife, Carol. She's been an outstanding First Lady for the city of McComb. Couldn't have done this without her support. She's gone above and beyond the call of duty in leading my mayor's youth council, which was a great experience for both of us. Many great kids pass through our council, and I'm quite certain some will become our future leaders. I want to thank my family, my friends and supporters that are here with us this morning as I lead my last meeting, or as your mayor. I want to thank the citizens of McComb for hiring me and giving me the opportunity to serve them for 2 terms for the last 7.5 years. I truly appreciate the confidence they placed in my leadership. I want to thank the staff at City Hall, city administrator, clerk, city attorney, all the department heads, and all the employees for making my job so much easier. We have a great team in place that will provide for a seamless transition to Mayor-elect Lockley and the Board of Selectmen. I believe we accomplished the goals that I set out to achieve as your mayor, and we leave the city in strong financial position. The annual audit report just received for fiscal year ending 9/30/2017 was presented with no findings of fault. It's an outstanding audit with no deficiency or instances of non-compliance. Very important. The most recent audit report of internal controls performed by T.E. Lott which examined all accounts with all cash accounted for and verified. Finding no department with concerns of inordinate risk. The city is functioning at a very high level in all departments. We've managed our resources, and we spent over $7 million on overlay and over $10 million on water sewer infrastructure. No small feat. We've sought and received over $4 million in grant funding for the city, including 2 TAP grants, the second of which begins on Railroad Boulevard July the 2nd. Hard enough for a city to find approval for 1 TAP grant, but we've received 2 in the last 7.5 years. That's very strong. We've renegotiated the water meter contract for the city and saved our ratepayers approximately $3 million over the life of the contract. The 2 major streams of revenue to the city, property tax receipts and sales tax collections, are growing. You just heard the report. Our city is experiencing a major growth spurt in commercial development, which is growing our tax base, hence higher ad valorem tax receipts, and higher sales tax collections are coming to our city. We've grown from $5.1 million in 2011 to over $5.8 million. I think I just heard 6.1. Both property tax receipts and sales tax collections are on an upward track. I noted in my recent remarks to the Rotary Club, the unemployment rate had fallen from 12.7 to 4.9%. That's a pretty good deal. We approached the state, and they reinstated the hotel motel tax program for the city, and we've used those dollars to complete our sports park. We've done all this is accomplished. We have not raised the millage tax rate on our property owners. I'm proud of this body of work. I believe it'd hold up against any body of work, against any prior administration. The city of McComb is growing, and our economy is improving. This is good news, and it's even better news that our city is positioned well for even more growth in the years to come. I want to wish Mr. Lockley all the best in leading the city of McComb forward to even greater heights. Many thanks to all. May God continue to bless the city of McComb. I'm Whitney Rawlings. It's been a pleasure to serve as your mayor. Entertain a motion. Oh, I hadn't learned this job yet. I'm not through. That motion was out of order. All right. The city of McComb offices will be closed Wednesday, July 4th, in observance of the 4th of July holiday. The next board meeting will be July 10th, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. Mr. Cochran, Representative Cochran, again, thank you very much for being with us. Now I'll entertain that motion. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Cameron for the second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries.